What's up, guys? Bussian here, coming at you with another unboxing slash analysis of basically a starter deck. We're looking at Firestorm, tactical card game, and we're looking at the Dozori. This is a card game that you may or may not have seen me open 10 boosters for. And this time we're looking at the sort of pre-packed products, where they have very specific fixed cards included. So this is one of four. We may have a look at some other ones, we may not, can't promise that, but we're gonna open this one and have a look at the cards inside, that's for sure. No music today. I've been struggling a little bit to get the volume balance done right to my speech, and if you are here and you are enjoying these videos, then you probably want to hear about the commentary. And if you're not, then, well, go somewhere else. So, first of all, sorry, I said Dozori. They're the Muero, and they got a cool little sign there. That's the sign of this particular faction. They are one of the antagonists in the card game, or maybe potentially the only ones. But they have a very decent starter deck too. And what's important about these starters is that if you want to play the game, you need what is on the back of this box, which is called an alien card. So two things you're going to start the game with before you do anything else is, well, I wish that was on the front, because now I'm going to have to go through this whole thing. Is an advantage card, which I cannot find. So when we get to it, we get to it. But yes, you get a 50 card starter deck. That's the minimum you need. There's no maximum limit. And you get a very nice rulebook. And many people are like, oh, 92 pages or 92 pages. Well, yes, but the first 15 is a novel. And the last sort of 10 is a glossary. So we got about 50 pages, but then a bunch of those are full page pictures. So actually, you look at it, 92 pages, well, that's not a big deal. If you want to play a cool card game, then just, start reading. But we're not here to discuss the length of rule books. I'm going to throw this to the side, and we're going to start to look at the cards that we have here. The Muero is very much geared towards going and conquering your opponent's homeworld. And the alien card does that immediately. Basically, once per turn, you can play a military card for -1 resource, which just obviously helps you to get out cards cheaper. That's really cool. And it comes with a very nicely balanced 3 tech, 3 command structure as well, which just does help to set up as well. I don't like the Saiyan, for example, only gets 2 command per turn of their alien card. Starting of 4 tech, I don't necessarily think is that big a deal. I'd rather get more commands, because that defies the game and how many cards you can play a turn a lot more. Okay, so we're gonna go through this, and it's not in order, unfortunately, but either way, we start with a Fate card, which is Bloodlust. Muero ships have +1 power, and they get +1 energy until the end of turn. That's really cool. They can attack more, which is obviously very, very important. And getting this Fate card is nice. It's a fixed card as well, so you will only find this in the starter. Then we have our second Fate card, and I have to say, like, for every 10 card, your 10th card is a Fate card, can be a Fate card, so a 50 card deck should obviously have 5 Fate cards in it. I think the Muero one is actually the one that has like 4. The other ones, Human, Dozori, so on, they all come with 3. I think Dozori maybe 4. But yeah, you definitely want to get your hands on at least 5 of these to be able to leverage the power of Fate cards as much as you can. Rule of the Premog is another Dozori faction specific card, Until the end of the next turn, ships you control gain sacrifice this ship to have it inflict damage that is equal to X plus the sacrifice ship's printed structure. Basically, that's just like, you know, suiciding into like something else. But that can be game winning. That can be really good. You can just take out something that's you know, that's something you can't deal with, and you can like pump a ship up, sacrifice it, get rid of it, kind of stuff. We move on to our first ship, Mercenary Fighter. Not really a whole lot to say about it. It's a nice cheap unit, decent fate number as well. This is the last video. I actually need to correct myself. This is the fate unit. This is resource cost. The dots are how many commands you need, and the little whatever number you got inside the yellow bubble is how much is the minimum tech requirement. So you need 3 resources, 1 command, and at least 1 tech to be able to play Mercenary Fighter. It's an okay ship. It goes into any deck. It's just to get something out quick, but 2-1 combat is, it's okay. It's a common anyway, so you can get them from boosters. We got Paracel. Paracel is a pretty cool little retrofit for your ships. Doesn't really cost a huge amount, and it allows you to store extra your ship that you attach this to gets you know, like extra power, extra energy kind of stuff, so you can do more stuff. Which kind of makes Bloodlust only really good if you got like, you know, a huge amount, like not huge amount, but a decent amount of ships out in play. We got the Terraform Company here, our first planetary installation. Gives us +1 resource, +1 structure. It's a nice little card. Then we have our first hero card, Turel Tulak. The 3 influence is good. You can tap him for an extra command, which is already good. He's also a diplomat. He's also a spy. He does cost 6, but he's also pretty cool because, you know, he can go to any planet and he can make your one of your opponent's planets basically give them 0 resource. So, you know, if you don't need the extra command that turn, tap it, make your opponent a bit more strained on energy. Then we got one of the bigger ships, Destroyer. This is a Destroyer ship as well, specifically. It's a pretty good unit, a bit expensive with the 6, but it's not too bad. And it can gain +1 energy. So it's only got 2 power, so when you've done something already, you can then obviously use the limited combat, give it +1 energy, replenish it to 2, and then you can just, you know, work with that. Got a second copy of Mercenary Fighter. No cards have 3 copies in these starters, so 2 is the max that we get, which is, you know, fairly usual. The second Paracel as well, we've seen that. Second Terraform Company, and we have Primog Lutrug. He's one of the big baddies. 5, 3, 4 stats is pretty good, obviously. And he's also got a very cool combat react where it basically makes the ship that he's on basically deal double damage for 1 command, which can be extremely strong. Like, you got this guy on a ship, you hold on to that extra command, and you can just take a ship out, or that could basically get you a planet as well, for example. So that's really cool. Second copy of Destroyer, and we got our first planet. I think there are 4 in this deck, but I'm gonna keep these on the side. Frozen World, it's okay. The 1 resource I think is, well, obviously the more resources the plans give you, the more they cost. As a starting plan, I think it's okay. It's also giving you a good amount of tech as well to get started. So yeah, it's decent. Our first tactical card, Reinforced Armor. It's okay. It's a military card, which you can make it a bit cheaper in this deck, so that's cool. And as a react, play as a ship you control would suffer damage, and you can prevent 1 of that damage. For 0 cost, as long as you got the 4 tech, that's okay. It's nothing big, but it's okay. Then we have another ship retrofit card. This is a weapon charger, and in the combat, you can basically give the ship +1/+0. It's a nice little pump. it's okay. For a starter deck, it's fine. This is our second Primog Sutral. Obviously, all these guys are unique, so we only get 1 copies of them. That you can have up to 3 in your deck, but remember the rules with unique heroes, of course. It's a cool unit again. It kind of makes your opponent's ship deal -1 damage, so that's pretty cool. Like more defensive, I would probably leave this guy obviously closer to the end game if you're like dominating destroyers that you want to use to like conquer planets and stuff like that. If that like fails, as long as he's the only admiral out, he can like do a bit more extra defensive stuff. Our third fake card, Year of Plenty. This one is I'm not a big fan of this because it's a symmetrical effect. Both you and your opponent like flip the top card and you can play for -3 resources. I'm yet to find some decent cards for like top deck manipulation. When I do, Year of Plenty could become like the top fake card that I want to use in decks, but right now it's like sort of not the best. Hidden Resources. Right now I think this is a 3 of in every deck, just for a 0 cost card to play it, gain 1 resource, and then you recycle it. You're not obviously terminating it, so just makes your deck spin a bit quicker, give you an extra resource. It's always good. Any timing as well. So. Reinforcements, another tactical card. And here, during the combat, you can spend 1 energy from target ship in a location adjacent to the combat to move it into the combat, and then you can support either faction ships as long as you're aligned with them. So just quick movement, sort of like oh, I got a ship here. Well, ships normally have about 2 movements, 1 or 2 movements, sometimes nil. With the reinforcements card, you can make that 2 or 3 that turn, or actually move like a station around or something like that. So that can be cool. Talking about movements, Fleet Carrier is a really cool card in this deck. It still has the 2 move, even though it's an expensive card, but for 2 resources you can search your draw pile for a fighter card and put it in your hand. Obviously, card draw is good, but tutoring is even better, so Fleet Carrier is a really, really good card. It's not by accident that is Muero specific. We also go and find our homeworld, which is Regnu Krog. You know it's a homeworld because it says on the card. It's a 4/4 command value with 3 power, and it's a desert. So actually, I don't understand why this deck doesn't have hydroponics in it, because that works really well with obviously Regnu Krog. And also, you get a really cool effect. Once per turn, you can attack or perform a combat action without issuing a command. So that's really cool. Basically, making sure that those 3 commands you get, you can just use them to play cards, play more cards, and play more cards, and you can attack once per turn for free. The Academy, it's an okay card, nothing major. It's a little bit of a card dig. You pay 2 resources. What I don't like is you have to discard a card at random from your hand. That's a big drawback on this card. To draw 1 card, like you can anyway discard 1 card at the end of the turn if you like really want to go digging. So I don't know how good Academy really is, but it's a starter deck again, so it's okay. It's good enough. Second copy of Hidden Resources, I said this is a auto 3. Second copy of Reinforcements. Is another big boy, the Juggernaut. Again, a Muero specific card. 8/3 combat values with 3 structure, 2 power, and it's really strong ultimately. It does have a little bit of drawback, but the 8/3 stat is why you want to run it. Then we got Reinforced Hulls. This is our advantage card, as I mentioned. These 2 things will start in the game before you even lay out your starting system. And Muero, well, no, not Muero ships, sorry, just generally ships you control have +1 printed structure. So all your ships immediately come down with a little bit more protect, well, extra hull, obviously. So that's a good inclusion actually for this deck for sure. And we got a city. It's giving us +1 resource but -1 structure on the planet. But what you need to understand is that it only costs you 2 resources and 1 command. So this is like an early game card when you get it out, just to start to get more resources coming into play. I'm not a fan of this, but again, unless you have something better, and you know that 2 resources early game, that's it. Basically makes its value worthwhile on the 3rd turn after you played it. And we got Minefield. I think this is a really cool card. In the combat, you pay 1 resource for each ship in the opposing fleet to have Minefield inflict 1 piercing damage to each of those ships, and it costs you star. No commands, no minimum tech requirements, just a 1 ping to as many ships as you want. I don't know if you probably have to pay you have to have all the resource to target all the ships, but still, like, this could be a very cool finisher card if you're up like, yeah, no, I'm surviving on 1 hull, 1 structure. Well, not really, mate. There's the Minefield for you. Repair ship repairs 2 damage, removes 2 damage once per turn, basically from a ship that's at the location of the repair ship. This can be obviously really good to, like, particularly keep, like, you know, bigger units in play for longer. Then we got the ancient one. I don't really think this particularly belongs in the deck, but it's more there for the 3 influence to generate more commands for us. It does have a bit of a hand control, but I think that for 3 resources is a bit too expensive. Nevertheless, it's still a diplomat. Second copy of City. Then we got Pillage, another 0-cost tactical card. React, play as you would conquer a planet and you gain 3 extra resources. Perfect for this deck, honestly, because you want to conquer planets. So getting an extra 3, particularly on those planets where they, like, you know, give 1 resource, well, that's not a big push to get that 1 resource, but you kind of need to. With Pillage, you can really make that deal much sweeter. Then we got the second copy of Repair Ship, and then we have another hero, Kraroon Verix. Only 2 influence, hurts the card a little bit, but you got some combat shenanigans. You can add plus X damage to the ship combat that this guy's on. The Head of Quan, the only gear that's in the deck. But it's cool because it's giving whatever hero you put it on basically Shroud for those of you who play Magic. And +1 power, +1 combat, +1 life, +1 influence as well. So, you know, these 2 influence guys, well, you whack this guy on and then you can use them for command generation as well. We got Cut the Red Tape, probably even more crucial than Hidden Resources. Just play a gain 1 command, but make sure you, this can't push your command over its maximum, so make sure you use Cut the Red Tape after you've already issued at least 1 command, and you can just replenish. And I think this is definitely an auto 3 in every deck. Another Pillage, we have a Salvage Ship, which is, I don't think it's a really cool card. I think it's pretty weak actually, but then I'm sure there are decks that make use of this. Here's a good one though. Massive build-up. You can only have it in a Muero deck, and you can only have 1 of it in the deck, but you play it out, and all the military cards will cost you 1 -2 resource to play even. So it costs you 2 commands, so you kind of want to have at least a couple of, like, you probably want to have, like, you want to prepare for this card. Maybe have a Cut the Red Tape in your hand, maybe have a couple of units that you can tap for extra commands, because this will cost you 2, you go down to 1. So it's not worth it unless you can generate more commands. But if you can, and be able to bring out any military card for -2 resource, that can actually give you 1 really big turn. Titanium Hull, giving a ship +3 structure, really good. Second copy of Cut the Red Tape, and then we have an Elite Fighter. Probably one of the best sort of cost to power ratio card in the deck. So it comes down fairly early. It's a fighter, so you can be with one of your big destroyers as an attachment. But pretty good ability as well there. It just inflicts extra damage to another ship when it attacks, so that's like really powerful. And we got a secret mine, gives us +1 structure. This is like the upgraded city if you don't want to lose +1 resource, even it gives you without a loss of structure, costs 1 extra. So secret mine I think is better than city realistically. Yes, it's more expensive. It will not bring its value back until like turn 4 after you play secret mine. But you also don't really want to lose out on structure, I don't think. Mining asteroid, a very simple, very cheap starting planet. You get basically access to 5 resources, but you can only take 1 at a turn, so it's like a finite amount of resources. Once you mine it, then it's gone. And then we got Troggroz, probably our final hero in the deck. One of the cheaper guys, but he's good to go into hero combat because he deals +2 damage in hero combat. He actually deals 4 damage in hero combat, which is pretty strong actually. It's pretty good to get like characters out we don't want to have on the board. Mercenary Destroyer, it's an okay card. I think it's probably not quite worth the money, but then you'll be the judge. The second Elite Fighter, I think, again, still, this is a good card. Then we got a Secret Mine, the second copy, and our final is the Muero Ragnu Prime, which goes really well with our home planet Ragnu Krog, because this card comes down. It has actually given us 3 attack, which is really good. Another resource, which can be good, but the abilities are really cool, where you can issue 1 command and search your draw pile for a gear card, reveal that card, and put it in your hand, and then reshuffle your draw pile. So you just get immediate access to the head of Krog, which allows us to, or the head of whoever it was, the head of Kwan, there you go, even. Get this card out, obviously you get one of your cheaper hero down that only got like the 2 influence, make it up to 3, also make it like untargetable. It's just good. It's just good. And again, it's just a bit of card digging, a bit more like you can really use this card if you want to like build a deck where you're using a bunch of different gear, get it out of the deck, or maybe even some thing that you might want to try if you want to like bring the Sylvan in. Obviously Sylvan has a bunch of gear cards. If you can like kind of make that happen somehow, then maybe that might be a card for you, I'm not sure. But generally I think this is definitely one of the strongest faction out of the box, this one and humans. The Zori is okay as well. Probably Sylvan is the last one on the list. Not that they're bad, Sylvan is also very good and they all have their niche stuff, but having only 2 commands on the Sylvan alien card, it does hurt the faction quite a lot actually, in my opinion. But yeah, this is it guys. I hope you've enjoyed this, I don't know, little analysis of the Muero starter deck. And I'll see you guys next time. But up until then, Bussy and sign out. Peace.